We were at the Kambosos Media Day last week, and Jim Kambosos was telling everyone who'd listened that it was in the contract. If George wins this, Hitchens is next. Is that your understanding of the
Yeah,
situation?
yeah. It's I mean, look, that's where we're all heading towards. I mean, I think it's the natural fight. I think obviously George's ambition is to become a two-division world champion. We have Hitchens. Georgie's ranked with the IBF. Obviously, it's his first big fight at 140. A dangerous fight, actually, to be honest. I know, like, people expect it to be routine. Dowd Jordan certainly doesn't. He actually messaged me after I mentioned the Hitchens fight in New York last week. Not very happy with me, sort of saying, "So I get it, do I? When I beat Kambosos?" I said, "All right, calm down." So that's absolutely the plan for Hitchens to fight Kambosos should he come through Dowd Jordan on March 22nd.
So obviously, what's that timeline? Sort of mid to late 2025 in
Yeah,
New
June.
York.
June, basically. Yeah. June in New York. Hitchens' homecoming after obviously beating Paro and attempting to, uh, you know, get the win over another Australian in Kambosos if George comes through. So I think this fight really, without being too harsh on George, it's really win or bust. You win, you get a shot to become a two-division world champion. You lose, your career's over. I mean, that's how I see it. And like I said, I think it's a very dangerous fight.
And just quickly there, you mentioned Liam Paro. Last week, it was announced he'd signed with No Limit Boxing. Just talk me through that from your perspective, I guess.
Honestly, like, he got beat. We didn't have a fight obligated to give him. We've got a very good relationship with Angelo. We love Liam. We love Alfie. Um, we got made aware of the offer and we told him to take it. Thought it was a really good, opportunity for him, a good offer. And we didn't have a date for him. So um, the young man has to fight. He's a great fighter. And we thought it was a good opportunity. So, yeah, we wish him the best and looking forward to seeing him. I'm sure he'll be back, fighting for championships.
And now back to this March 22 card. Sky Nicholson, Tiara Brown. Um, a lot of people think it could be Sky's kind of first real test. I guess, do you see it that way?
There are so many other fights that were supposed to be the first real test. I mean, Lucy Wildheart, Sky stopped her. She went 10 hard rounds with Michaela Meyer on like 2 days' notice. Perez, the interim world champion, that was supposed to be a tough test. She barely lost a round. Sarah Marfood was number one ranked with the Ring magazine. She didn't win a round against Sky. Vargas was a handful. And then Raven Chapman was like, Ring magazine top five, mandatory. And she sort of won one round, maybe two. And I do rate Tiara Brown. I do think this is a very, very tough fight. And I think it's not only a tough fight, I think it's the kind of fight where you'll see the best of Sky. Tiara's not going to be timid, not just, face to face, but in the ring as well. She's going to be coming to rip the belt away. And I think it's one of the best fights in the division. I really do. 12-0 against 18-0, mandatory challenger. We know about Sky's amateur pedigree. Tiara Brown's a former world amateur champion. She's a very, very good fighter. I think it's just a brilliant fight. And, Sky has the ambitions to become undisputed. And this is the kind of fight where she can really show her quality, I think, but will be another very, very tough challenge.
And what about the rest of the undercard? Have you managed to find an opponent for
Yeah,
Terra
so
Moana yet?
yeah, we have. We'll announce that this week. I mean, look, Terra Moana is it's difficult with Terra Moana because although he's had six pro fights, four of those were quite low level and quite quick. So I really, he's had two fights with us. Kind of feel like we started from scratch, although he's 6-0. So he does need the experience and he has learning. He is learning. I think that Terra Moana is, really going to be a top world class heavyweight. Not just an Australian heavyweight, but a man that can dominate and win world championships. And I'm so excited about his future. So he'll fight in Sydney. You've got another world championship fight on the card, of course, with Shanika Johnson against Nina Hughes. The rematch. The first fight was a great fight, and the infamous decision in the ring where, the ring announcer gave it to the wrong fighter and so forth. And also Iman Katiev, who trains with George Kambosos, Ring Magazine, top 10 heavyweight in the world, in a really good fight. Another Australian heavyweight that will be added shortly to the card as well with Lou DiBella, and some local fighters as well. So yeah, 2 world championship fights, Ring Magazine, top 10 world-class light heavyweight, Terra Moana, the big Australian heavyweight, and of course Kambosos against Jordan. So a really good card in Sydney, March 22nd, and we're looking forward to getting out there.
Another guy who's hopefully due to announce a fight soon is Jai Opetaia. Can you tell us anything about his future plans?
Yeah, I mean, had a dialogue with Mick Francis yesterday and Spencer Brown, our partners with Jai Opetaia, and I think the key really and the desire from Mick and Jai is to stay busy. It's unlikely that he'll fight again in Riyadh season till October time, and I think that he don't want to wait that long. Obviously he's been very active, but he last boxed in January with that great performance against Naika, and I just feel like Mick and Jai have said, look, we need to keep moving. So I'll let those guys announce, but yeah, early summer, expect to see him back hopefully on home territory with a run out and a performance, and then a unification in October. It's really important that we get Jai positioned for the belts. I want him to win every belt in the division, and I believe he can do that.
Any fears or murmurings that the Zerto fight might not be there, or are you guys still confident
Well,
that?
he has got to fight Dorticus, so he definitely has a mandatory defence. But we hope he can get that out of the way in the summer. Like we will fight, and then that October fight in Riyadh season could be him. If not, Badu Jack, whoever's got the WBC. We just need those 2 fights to become undisputed, and then hopefully make the move up to heavyweight.
Recently announced that Katie Taylor was going around again with Amanda Serrano. To what extent are you involved in that fight? Because it seems like it's very much a MVP promotion.
Yeah, same as the last fight. Really, we did the deal with Nikisa and Jake and MVP. We're very pleased to get it over the line. Promotionally, we won't be involved. We'll be obviously with Katie's promoter, and we'll be supporting her 110%. And she got a great offer. Again, we're very grateful to Nikisa and MVP. Huge platform again, huge platform last time, and it's a great fight. It's 2-0, but it could have gone the other way, both fights. And I feel like Katie edged the fights, but they were razor thin. So this time will be no different. These girls could fight 100 times, and everyone would be a fight of the year contender. So 2 great fighters, 2 legends of the sport, and ready to do it all again July 11th.
Any disappointment that it looks like that Croak Park fight probably won't happen?
Yeah, I mean, the payday softens that for sure. But we are going back to Madison Square Garden, and last time was incredible. It really was, and this time, obviously, the fight's even bigger. It will be completely sold out again, and the atmosphere will be incredible.
The big story last week was, of course, the announcement from TKO and Dana White and Turkey about their new boxing venture. A lot of, I guess, different takes and different theories around on that. Were you blindsided at all by it?
No, we've known about it for nearly a year, and particularly the last 3 months, just waiting for the announcement, really. We've always known that it was a league. The details of that league we don't know too much about, but kind of reading between the lines. And I was listening to Dana's interview after the UFC event last night. He talks about kind of like young, say unknown talent, but kind of developing stars and building from the ground up. I barely disagree with Dana. I think he's a great guy. I get on really well with him. I don't think boxing is this broken product that everyone goes on about. I think it can be improved. I think we can innovate, which we must do across all sports. but it's also red hot. You know, I mean, boxing's hotter than it's ever been, and it's always been hot. But of course, with His Excellency coming in and Riyadh season, right now, boxing's hotter than ever. That's why Dana White and Nick Khan and TKO have decided to get involved in boxing. You know, if it wasn't hot, if it was completely broken, if there was no future, they wouldn't bother. The reality is right now, in my opinion, boxing's much hotter in terms of the interest, the narrative, you know, the digital conversation than MMA. And you know, a company like TKO and people like Dana White are getting involved. One, it's great for the sport, but two, it also shows you where boxing's at.
Obviously, you've been around the sport for decades. In your mind, can you see a model like that working?
I mean, I think it's important to grow young talent, you know, and you know, he talked about trying to build stars and build pay-per-view stars. Um, Boxing's very different to MMA, you know, like you have to understand he really does control the entire sport of MMA. I know there's other outlets and there's other platforms, but he really doesn't have to go to sleep with one eye open. You know, when he goes to bed at night, he knows he's going to wake up in the morning. He's still going to be in control. Everyone's still going to do as they're told. You know, the contracts are still going to be in place. He'll fight him, he'll fight him, he'll fight him, whatever you want. And that's very different in boxing. And I just don't know. Not will he have the appetite and desire because he's a winner and he loves a challenge, but it ain't pleasant at times. You know, you're dealing with a lot of different people, and I don't think it's a sport where everyone's just going to sign up to be, you know, controlled or, you know, in a sense, told what they're going to do, unless the money's out of control. And at the same time, these guys are smart. They run good businesses, and I don't think they're just going to be bleeding money. So yeah, I like the idea of young talent and building stars. So whatever they do, I think they're going to be successful at. They're very smart people, and I think their involvement can only be great for the sport.
What about your own future? Would you ever, I don't know, obviously you've had a lot of success. You've set yourself up. Would you ever consider getting out of the game, I guess, given the
Yeah, I
changing
think you know
landscape?
there was a Twitter site, you know, that is I think it's kind of its aim is just almost like to wind people up and just spill news and stories and rumors that everybody buys into. And they put up that Eddie Hearn had decided after 20 years of promoting or whatever it was that he's going to walk away from the game. And a lot of people didn't know it was like a parody account. And I had a lot of messages there, from some of my fighters as well. Going, mate, it's like, what? You know, you don't, not yet. You know, you've got so much more to give. And I'm like, guys, I'm 45. You know, chill out. So um, I'm enjoying it. You know, I'm really enjoying where boxing's at right now. And you know, the global vision that we have, it's never been done before. And I'm always trying to push ourselves. It's like coming to Australia. You know, you were there. January in the Gold Coast was fantastic. You know, with Mick and everybody done a great job and the Opetire card. And, you know, I really feel like Kambosos is going to be a great night on March 22nd. We want to do 4 to 6 events in Australia a year. I think that market has so much potential. Obviously, just launched in Canada, you know, Mexico, Saudi Arabia, Italy, Spain, England, US. I really do live and breathe it, you know. So not going anywhere yet. Not going anywhere yet. And you know, I think that Turkey gets very excited with his announcements, and he's a funny guy. And you know, when he says about crushing promoters and leaving them on Alcatraz, I don't think that's a really, you know, a sign of his intent, but just that he's a bit of a wind-up merchant. And I've got a lot of questions about it, and you know, I can't help being a little bit bullish, which was I want to continue working with His Excellency, and I'll love to work with Dana White and those guys. But if not, don't worry about me. We're just fine, you know. And if anyone wants a fight, we're up for that as well. But we're in the business at the moment lately of playing nice, and it's very enjoyable. And I think it has potential and it has a future. You know, I was doing another interview with some Australian media today, and I was talking about your promotional divides over there. And it's like, I see a lot of how it used to be for me. Like, no one likes each other. Do you know what I mean? oh, have you heard about this? Oh, have you heard about him? Oh, that show's not doing very well. Oh, that show's not doing, it's like, guys, we can lift each other up. The fact that Matchroom are coming to Sydney for the first time should be championed, right? The Zona there, it's another Riyadh season event. No Limit, doing an amazing job, keeping really pushing boxing all the time. Mick Francis, amazing January on the Gold Coast, him and Fran, like they were brilliant. Like Angelo, been around a lot, rather than just rah, 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 rah. And I've been there, and it is so much more enjoyable when you actually build relationships and start working together. And look, His Excellency did that, but I definitely advise it.